Kids celebrate Halloween every year. Halloween is always on October 31st. There are many things people do on Halloween. Things that people do every year during a holiday or event are called traditions. Some Halloween traditions started a long time ago. Halloween started as an ancient festival. During the festival, people built big fires and wore costumes. They thought this would keep ghosts from coming to their village. Ghosts are thought to be the people who have died but have not left the living world. In the 8th century, Pope Gregory III made a new holiday. He called this new holiday All Saints' Day. In the Roman Catholic Church, people prayed for the saints. The next day, people prayed for family members who had died. The festival focused on ghosts and on people who had died. The day before All Saints' Day was called All Hallows' Eve. After a while, people started calling it Halloween. As the years went by, Halloween traditions turned into the Halloween of today. Legend says it's the day the line between the living and dead is the thinnest. A legend is a story that is passed down over many years. It may be all true, somewhat true, or completely made up. Like the early festivals, part of Halloween was about the dead and the ghosts. The Halloween traditions of today come from many places. In America, new Halloween traditions came about as the years went by. The first one was Halloween plays. People in town danced, sang, and told stories during the plays. In the middle of the 1800s, many Irish people came to America. They brought the tradition of trick-or-treating. People dressed up in all sorts of costumes. Then they went to each door in town and asked for money or food. This turned into the trick-or-treating of today. By about 1850, most Americans wanted to take out some of the scarier parts of Halloween. People wanted to forget things like witchcraft and ghosts. Instead, people wanted to make Halloween a holiday that was fun for kids and adults. By the start of the 1900s, food, games, and fun costumes became a big part of Halloween. After this change, there were many pranks done on Halloween. This became a problem for people. Some of the pranks were harmful and not funny. This problem led to making Halloween more for little kids. No longer was the holiday mostly for adults or teenagers. Around the 1950s, Halloween parties became smaller. Families had their own get-togethers instead of going to town events. This helped to make Halloween a calmer holiday. It also kept older kids and adults from acting too crazy. Trick-or-treating was one way to keep Halloween calmer. Kids dressed in costumes, knocked on doors, and said, "Trick or treat." If the person behind the door gave a treat, then they knew there would be no tricks. For the most part, this worked well. Of course, there were always some older children who acted up anyway. Some people get scared of black cats on Halloween. This dates all the way back to the Middle Ages. Back then, many people thought witches could turn into black cats. This made them afraid of black cats. It is a legend that became part of Halloween today. Many shelters will not adopt out black cats around Halloween for this reason. The tradition of using jack-o'-lanterns to scare away ghosts came to America from Ireland. In Ireland, people carved faces into turnips. In America, there were not so many turnips, but there were many pumpkins. People began to use pumpkins instead. Legend has long put bats and witches together. Some legends say witches can turn into bats. One legend says it is bad if a bat flies into a house. It would happen on Halloween only if a ghost let it in. In real life, if a bat flies into a house, it is probably just lost. During the original festival, people believed that dead spirits were able to walk among them. People put on costumes so the dead would not know who was alive. This helped people feel safer. Even after people stopped believing this legend, dressing up in costumes stayed a part of Halloween. Now it is just a fun way to celebrate the holiday. Orange and black became Halloween colors because it was also harvest time. Orange was for crops and fall leaves. Black was for summer ending. Colors like yellow, purple, and white were added in later. This was probably because of white pumpkins, yellow leaves, and purple squash. Candy apples come from an old festival. The Roman festival for Pomona, goddess of the fruit trees, was around Halloween. She was often shown with an apple, so apples became part of the Halloween tradition. People now cover apples in melted caramel or candy. Then, the apples are dipped in nuts or sprinkles. In the late 1800s and early 1900s, people started making a new candy called candy corn. It was made in the colors of corn, orange, yellow, and white. It was shaped to look like a corn kernel. Candy corn is still a popular treat during Halloween today. On Halloween, witches are often shown to be scary. Movies show witches as ugly, with black hats. They are often stirring up a potion in their cauldron. A cauldron is a giant pot. This witch is very different from the old goddess called the crone. The crone was a kind figure who helped the seasons change with her stirring. The Halloween witch of today may have come from the crone. There are so many old and new traditions that make up Halloween. They have all played a part in making Halloween the holiday it is today. Halloween is not a time to be scared. It is a time to have fun dressing up with friends and family. In fact, the only thing that should be scared on October 31st is candy. Watch out, candy. All the little boys and girls are coming to gobble you up. Happy Halloween.